the streaming is not running, so I can't get audio from that source. And Ron is, well, his hip is doing well, but he's not in the position. Whoop, here we go. The stream is on. Now I should be able to get some. Audio. I'm not hearing anything. It may be that things aren't working for me. Anyway, okay. Well, listen. I'll just say hi to Marty and Puyallup there. Interesting suffix on each call. And good evening to you, Jim, N7QO, and Dave. Good to hear you, of course. And James, W7N. And I'll have more to say about fire extinguishers if this thing is working next time around. So back to Ned, N7KC, Port Angeles.
N7KC, fine with that. Let's go over to Jim, N7QO.
N7QO. Thank you, Dave, and good to see you. And good evening to Jim and Lee and Marty as well. Well, Lee, we hear you just fine. Of course, no video, but I chatted with Ron today, and I'll brief you on him probably next go-around. Lee, we heard you weren't feeling all that well. Hope you're doing much better now. And Jim, good job with what you're doing for your local community there. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
N7QO, my gosh, you're getting about a P3 plus picture coming through, black and white, but can make out your call sign and make out your face. So that's pretty good. So let's go to Marty, DOG.
Howdy to all. Yeah, 7DOG. It is a vanity. My wife lives around my dog, so what the heck. Nothing a whole lot to report here. I'm still between houses, waiting for a house to come available to move into. If you haven't heard on the other repeaters there. Just sitting here relaxing this evening. Just plugged in a movie. Making some dinner. Hanging with the pooches. And that's about all there is to say about that. Back to Ned.
Thanks for that, Marty. And this is Dave, 87GYM in Cool Lake City tonight. We've got 77 degrees outside. I should say, for me, that's cool after being down in Arizona where like this time in the evening it's 110 to 115 degrees. So I got back Monday and was able to get some of the cool Seattle weather at 85 degrees. But I almost felt like I needed a sweater on when it was that cool. But anyway, it's been great the last couple of days with the cooler weather here. I've really enjoyed that. Like I say, backing down from 110 and 115 degree weather, not a lot of fun. But I did get a chance to get over to California to the San Diego area. And the weather was like in the early 70s, you might say. Nice sea breeze coming in, so able to enjoy some stuff at Coronado, and got a chance to do some things in Arizona. Got up to Williams, Arizona, where they have the Bearizona. It's a kind of a wildlife park where they have bears that come up to your car, constantly you keep your windows up. So anyway, you go through these 4 or 5 different areas where the bears are playing around. That was kind of interesting to see that in Williams, Arizona, which is just off of Flagstaff. And then last week, got a chance to go to Sedona again for lunch. And that's a beautiful place to go and see all the red rocks and the red cliffs and outcroppings that are around that area from the red sandstone that have been there for centuries. So that's pretty much glad to be back home to cool Seattle. So that's pretty much it. This is Dave, KD7GYM. And let's go back up to James, WU7S.
Connected, KJ4SLO.
Here's a cartoon that immediately comes to mind, Dave, if you're going to parks where they keep the people inside the cars. The caption of this reads, "Drive, George, drive." This one's got a coat hanger, and the bear is trying to jimmy his way into the car. Thought that was kind of funny. So anyway, I just thought I'd show this to folks. This is, it's relatively painless to make. And as you can see, all it is here is we try to keep it under 30 seconds. And the most amazing thing to me is we did not put the subtitles on this. All you have to do is YouTube does it automatically and analyzes my speech, which I think is amazing in of itself. But anyway, it's me trying to show people in my neighborhood how you turn gas, electric, and water. So we made 3 videos. And I think we did not bust 1 minute on any of them. So, and the nice thing about it, the lady who gets full credit for this, actually, I had some still shots. So the point of the video is to show people where things kind of were at, and then this shot right here shows you actually kind of what the on and off position is, for example, for the gas meter. So anyway. We made one for gas and one for electric, and then one for water. So anyway, I think they've got something like 8 views because most of the people in the neighborhood came out when we invited them to actually physically show them how to do it. So probably not going to be a hot subscribed channel, but it's an idea. If you have similar kinds of shutoffs in your neighborhood, it's yet another project just in case you need something to do. Well, Marty, I think I could say welcome back. I think you've been here before, and glad you could join the net again tonight. I'm looking forward to the report on Ron. I've not wanted to bother him because I figure nothing's more annoying when you're trying to sleep and heal up and have everybody ask you, were you trying to sleep and heal up, and how are you feeling? So anyway, if you heard to talk to him, I sure appreciate getting that report. So this is James, WU7N, back to next.
WU7N. Let's go on to M7KC Lee.
Okay. This is M7KC Lee over in beautiful Port Angeles. Really nice. We've had some beautiful weather here lately. Oh my, very nice. Pleasant temperature. Beautiful sailing day today. We had a good little breeze here. There were no white caps in the harbor, but just short of it. Let's see. Yeah, Marty, that's a vanity call. Well, there must be a story there, I guess. We've got people here. We don't have any dogs at the moment because my wife and I are too old to bend over and pick up the poop. So we've got 2 indoor cats here in Port Angeles. So we have 25 Pomeranian years under our belt. The only dog. Anyway, and Jim, yeah, I was under the weather. I had, for the 3rd time this year, I came down with something, but it turned out just to be a chest cold. A little bit in my sinuses, and that was the extent of it. But it did last the better part of 2 weeks. And I never had a fever, and that sort of thing. Just feel really punky and so forth. But the problem is that when you achieve my number of years, there are folks older than I am, of course, but I'm thankful to have gotten as far as I have. But anyway, when you're approaching 80. You got to take these things seriously. You get a chest cold or something like that. You pay attention to that right up front. So I go into a save your behind mode when it happens. But anyway, I survived another one. It may well be because we go down to the hospital cafeteria so much to eat. Maybe I picked something up down there. Paula got a little something, but it wasn't what I had, so she didn't get it from me. At any rate, let's see, I'm down to 13 seconds. So anyway, Jim, that's my report. I have talked to Ron a couple of times, and his joint is apparently doing great things for him. And he was just glowing after first when he got it done. I hope it's still good for him. And James, the next time around, I'll talk about the fire extinguishers that I have and where I picked them up a few years ago. Anyway, so back to that. This is N7KC. I'm in Port Angeles, and my audio is courtesy of Echo Link. Back to you, Dave.
N7KC. Thank you. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine on KD7ZYM. Let's go to N7QO, Jim.
HYB.
K7HYB, we saw your call sign. You'll be coming up here shortly.
N7QO. Thank you, Dave, and good evening, Gary. Good to see you. Yeah, Lee, sorry to hear that. I definitely do not heal as quickly as I used to either. I hate to say it, but I think that's just normal as we age. Things take a greater amount of time to heal, to resolve. So let's see. I spoke with Ron, and his hip is doing much better. He is only taking Tylenol for the pain, so that's good. He is unable to sleep in the bed. For some reason, it hurts quite a bit when he extends his leg out all the way. So he is sleeping in a recliner where apparently he doesn't have to extend his leg all the way out. He is doing some sort of exercises, some exercise routine, and he begins physical therapy on Monday. Hopefully the exercise routine which he's doing will help ready him for the physical therapist who may straighten his leg out rather aggressively. He was a little concerned about that. He's not quite able to get on the net right now because he said he would have to crawl under the table somehow to, let me reset. In order to connect some cables in order to do video. So he didn't feel like telling Joanne to do that. And right now, actually, he has some company at the house. So tonight's just not going to work for him. Otherwise, we'd be able to see you, Lee, but good to hear your voice anyway. Let's see. Jim, you said something, you attended something in Bellevue, some sort of exposition or something. If you would, please mention that. Looks like you did a good job with the videos there for the neighbors. And back to you, Lake City Dave, K7ZYM and 7QO.
K7QO. Let's go to Marty and let him explain his dog call sign.
Yeah, it's 7DOG Marty. I'm a fairly new hamster. Not quite 2 years yet. Actually, about a year and a half. My life revolves around my two American bulldogs. If I go fishing, I got to drag them with me. I got an RV. If I do anything, I can't be away. I'm single and live alone. So these guys are two monsters that require a lot of attention. so I got the original call sign. I didn't really think much of it. So that's what the vanity comes from. I figured, what the heck, my life revolves around these guys, why not? And they're sitting here with me now watching TV. In fact, I probably have to cut this short because I got a couple of friends who's just getting here. We're going to watch an old movie called Kickboxer with Jean-Claude Van Damme. And I've been listening to the net for a while here off and on. Thought I'd pop in and say hello. And that's about the story there. K7DOG Marty and back to net.
DI7DOG Marty, thanks for joining us. Yeah, this is Dave, KD7ZYM from Lake City. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. And the net acknowledges Gary, K7HYB, has joined. And is there anybody else who would like to check in?
Kilowatt Juliet 4, Sierra Lima Oscar, Vince, via Echo Link.
And Vance, thanks for that. And let's go to Gary, K7HYB.
K87ZYM in the group, K7HYB. Good evening all, and I have been absent, unfortunately, due to personal commitments for one thing or another. There's the mug shot, and there's the wide shot. Mug shot's much better than a wide shot. Oh, there goes the call sign again. Picture quality is terrible on the wide shot. It's probably not enough contrast. So I'll go back to the mug shot again. Good evening all. We can several James, and Jim, and Lee. Good to hear you. And Ron. Too bad you're not with us, but I hope you heal well. And things went well for you. Dave, welcome back. Good to hear and see you. And we're just chugging along out here. I've been busy on the net nights with projects on my business, and we had a visit from my son, who's first class in the Coast Guard. He's let me drop it here. He's on his return odyssey to St. Louis, Missouri, where he's stationed. And they've been in California and Arizona and Nevada and several other different places. They came out to visit us for 3 or 4 days, and then they headed back, left on Friday. Left yesterday morning. So anyway, that's what has been eating up my time. Got several projects done or in the process here, and I'm glad to hear that everything's going pretty well. Don't have too much to say at this point in time, so I will pass it on back to you, Dave. KD7ZYM, the group K7HYB.
K7HYB, this is K7ZYM. Dave in Lake City. And let's go on to Vance.
Good evening, this is KJ4SLO.
KJ7SLO, go ahead.
Okay, sorry about that. I think I got it figured out here. had to go back to the radio. This is KJ4SLO, Vince, in Snohomish, Washington. Stand by just a second and close this out. Okay, got a few things going on. But anyway, thank you for checking me in. I've got a couple of buttons to push here and get things straightened out. But watching the live chat on YouTube and listening to the net. KJ4SLO, back to net.
KJ4SLO, where's your home base at?
KJ4SLO disconnected.
There we go. We're up here in Snohomish, off of Bigford, and, oh boy, yeah, I got a couple things to straighten out here. I will, hopefully get it ironed out in a few minutes. KJ4SLO, back to net.
KJ4SLO, okay. Let's go up to James, WW7ATS.
Okay, well, thank you, Dave. WW7ATS. And Vince, I noticed, I don't know if you said you were coming out of Washington or Florida. I saw you had a KJ4, so I'm curious to know about that once you get the button figured out there. Well, to answer the question, you've heard of Comics Con, and then there's Fantasy Con. Well, this is kind of a trade show that's a play on words. This is Trigger Con is all about everything that has to do with the shooting sports, and it was really interesting to see that. It was a smaller show, and you know, trade shows have just changed a lot in the last 10 years. It used to be hats like this. You would end up with a whole bag full of them by the time you left. I noticed everybody was selling their hats. I got this one given to me for free from a company that does work with tritium and glow-in-the-dark devices, everything from gun sights to clock faces to compasses, to you name it. So that's kind of an interesting hat there, and especially on this medium, it does kind of jump out at you, the company logo on a black hat. So anyway, that's what I did with most of my day today, and that was fun. Something different to do, and admission this year, at least, to get in, didn't cost you anything. I don't know, maybe that's why the hats are all $15 each. So anyway, that's the answer to that question. And on the YouTube videos, you know, that's it was amazingly painless for me to do it. I got to give camera credit to a neighbor of mine. She's the one that actually did the hard work of editing it. But like, for example, on this one right here, turning off the water, kept some pretty good editing material that, you know, you go to the end of the video, and, you know, this right here pretty much tells most of the story, so the whole rest of the video is just to tell people where to go. And hopefully not to find anything too scary in your water shutoff thing. So anyway, that's it for me. This is James, WU7N for this round. We toss up the ID there. And Gary, good to see you again. I hope that your absence was not due to injury or illness. So with that, let me go back to you, Dave. This is WU7N.
WU7N, we got that. This is Dave, KD7ZYN. Let's go to Lee, M7AC, beautiful Port Angeles.
Okay, very good. This is M7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. Well, I was just texting here, chatting with Vince. His name is Vince. Dave, not Vance, if you got that. And since he was, I heard him on Echolink, and he was a KJ4. I thought he might be down in Florida or someplace like that, but he's actually in Snohomish, and apparently using the repeater. Although the last time around I thought I heard him on Echolink still. Okay. Uh-oh, I didn't punch my timer, so I don't know how much is left, so I'll hit it now. Let's see, fire extinguishers. You know, there's an outfit down in the Georgetown area of Seattle called Fire King. Or at least they used to be down there. And they're a place that refurbishes fire extinguishers of a lot of varieties. And over the years, I purchased a total of 5 of the 5-pound CO2 extinguishers there. And the refurbished ones, the tanks are hydrated and everything and stamped with up-to-date information, and then they're cleaned and refilled, all that. And so I've had really good luck with those. Never had to use them. All you have to do is to weigh them periodically to make sure that they got their net weight of CO2 aboard. And I've got them, in fact, I've got one here within arm's reach of, in the family room around the computers, and I've got one in the shop, and I've got one in the kitchen, one upstairs, and so forth. And the beautiful thing about CO2 is that it works on any type of fire, and then you don't have a horrid clean job when it's all done. Okay. Let me... try to reset it there. Okay, well anyway, so that's the beauty of it, I think. You don't have to worry about what you kind of a fire that you attempt to extinguish with them, and there isn't any cleanup. That white stuff that sometimes comes spewing out, and all that, it's kind of a mess. Anyway, I don't have anything else. Anyway, nice to hear Vince on. And Marty, I guess, is off. Now, okay, so Vince is telling me. He says he's still setting up his shack. He's ironing out bugs and whatnot. He said he had Echolink on, but his computer started acting up, so he went back to 2 meters. Okay, very good, Vince. All right, this is N7KC, Lee, in Los Angeles. And with that, I'll send it back to Ned. Go ahead, Dave.
N7KC, this is 87ZYN, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society's net on the 08 repeater. Let's go to Jim, N720.
Thank you, Dave. N7QO. Well, that's interesting about the CO2 extinguishers. I don't have any of those. I've got a halon, and I actually have a couple of foam extinguishers, and everything else is dry chemical. Yeah, I've definitely seen dry chemical extinguishers leave a mess behind, and it could be a little bit of a problem cleaning up sometimes. Just trying to find all the little flakes can be a problem. I had a neighbor who had an engine fire one time, and he was finding that stuff for weeks after using an extinguisher. But you don't seem to find the foam extinguishers around anymore. I see them in other countries, but they don't seem to be popular here. My conjecture is that maybe they could be problematic if you have an electrical fire, because they may moisten the floor, and if you're stepping on it, you could feel a little something. But that's just my guess. They're certainly smaller and lighter and highly effective, but dry chemical works, I guess. I had a friend who was a firefighter advise me that periodically what one needs to do is take the dry chem extinguisher, hold it upside down, and then, let me reset. and then tap on the side of the cylinder with a rubber mallet or just a chunk of wood if you don't have it. He said that if the dry chemical extinguisher sits for a period of time, all of the flakes tend to maybe adhere together a little bit more than you might like in the bottom of the cylinder, and it may make it more difficult for all of the flakes to be evacuated during discharge. I don't know if that's true, but that's what he told me. So once a year or so, as long as I remember, I go ahead and thump the cylinders on the dry chemical units, which I have. Maybe someone can comment on that if I'm wasting my time, or if I probably should just have the older units discharged and recharged. Let's see. TriggerCon. Next go around, Jim, if you would please mention how you heard of that. I have not heard of that. Just curious. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
And 7QO, thanks for that. And when you were saying extinguishers, I got a 5-pound Halon that I keep in the shop. Hopefully, if there is an electronic fire, we can put it out without causing electrical damage. However, I guess to breathe the fumes from Halon is not a good thing. So anyway, the electronic equipment will survive, but maybe the operator with fire extinguisher may need some respiratory repair. We'll have to see how that goes. And we had TI-7DOG Marty, and he moved on to having his own party at his house and a beautiful weekend. So let's go to K7HYD, Gary.
CYM of the group K7HYB. Good evening. Yeah. Well, the weather reports. We just got back in after running around all day doing errands and stuff like that. Stopped and had some dinner at Ivers with my wife's girlfriend and her husband. We're both retired military, so we have pretty good. It's 65 degrees out here with 66% humidity. Winds very light at 1 mile an hour, and no significant rainfall in the last 24 hours, as I can see here. Oh, 0.26. Okay. We got a little rain last night, not much, but and Jim, I can almost see a very good profile of you. So your picture is very strong tonight. Not bad at all. Mine isn't doing too bad either. Looking at the stream, the wide shots are not doing very good, but the mug shot is pretty decent. I've got my glasses off tonight because I can see everything pretty well without them. Fortunately, since I had my cataracts done. Anyhow, welcome to the two people that stepped in this evening. It's glad to have you with us. I hope you enjoy yourself. My address is Snohomish, but I actually live in rural part of Snohomish County, down near Balby, and I have a nice. I didn't design it that way, but I have a really good shot at Cougar Mountain through the trees, and that's primarily the reason why the signal quality is so poor, because I'm going through a lot of foliage and stuff like that. And the cutscenes are already dropping here. Anyway, so I'm still working on some projects here at the shop, but thought I'd take a little time to check in tonight. And so I'll just say hello to everybody. I haven't checked in for several days, for several nets. Thought I'd let myself be known and let you know I was still alive. Anyway, we're going for a live apple for this time. You, Dave. Let me send it back to you, Dave. 87ZYM, Kilo 17, Hotel Yankee Bravo in the moment.
K7HYB, Gary, thanks for that. It's 87ZYM. And this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society's next wave machine. And let's see if Vince is still with us. KJ4, SLO.
Yes, sir, I am still here. This is KJ4SLO watching the live stream via YouTube, and had to clear out the echo link here and turned off my wireless keyboard. I think that's where the confusion was coming in. So eventually we'll get a cam set up where we can send some video feed through here, and I got some third-party traffic. Got my oldest daughter, Adriana, sitting here.
Say hi.
Hello. Anyway, still going over a few things, running a few wires, screwing a few things down. Got the mic boom and all that hooked up. So we'll hook up the rest of it. KJ4SLO, back to net.
KJ4. SLO, well, welcome to the net, and I hope your daughter enjoys ham radio. It's a lot of fun. Let's go on to James, WW7ATS.
Okay. Well, let's see. First off, here is a product I got years ago. I must have got this from Costco, and if you look carefully, it's really just a super-sized spray can. And it's interesting that there's a notice on it that says not allowed to be sold or distributed or marketed in California. But on the back, they claim that this spray can sprays much longer than a large fire extinguisher. So don't know if that's true or not, because I've never tried it out. But as you'll notice on the top here, as I was looking at it, it expires this year. So I guess it's experimentation time. I have no idea if these things are even available anymore, but this is essentially a foam fire extinguisher, and as you can see, compared to my head, that's about how big it is. And I also have about half the size of this one. I have a small halon that I carry in my flight bag. I'm not quite sure why, but maybe I could have always run over to put somebody else's airplane out if it ever caught on fire. So anyway, to answer the question, how did I find out about TriggerCon? I actually got invited this year. I worked at Renton Fish and Game for much of 2018 and much of 2019. And so I got my invitation. It's a trade show, so I got my invitation via Renton Fish and Game. But I have a feeling if you go to, do a search and find out where the website is, if you give up your email address, I have two email accounts. I have one that's for things like that, and then one for you guys and other important things. I'm sure you could probably get the invite for next year. I don't know. I've never heard of it being in Bellevue before, so I don't know if it rotates around from city to city or if it's an annual thing in Bellevue or not. So anyway, that's my 2 bits for this round. I see we got about 15 minutes left. So let me make sure to turn it back to net so everybody else gets around. The WU7N with the uniform 7 November. And turning it back to you, Dave.
WU7N, James. Well, let's pick up Lee, M7AC.
Oh my gosh. Okay, my turn again. There, I got the timer going this round. Okay, well I had a nice CWQ Saturday night with Bob, 87BP, And let's see, I do several CW traffic nets a day. I check in. And on the last one, the West Coast net, Bob doesn't check in, but he knows that I'm on there. When the net's over, he gives me a call, maybe 2-3 times a week. So we had a nice conversation tonight. Lots of fun. And I wasn't sleeping so good last night. I got up at 3. Well, I woke up at 3. I still wasn't asleep by 4. I thought, what the heck, I'll just get up and see what's going on 40 meters. And down on the low end of the band, there's some kind of a JA contest, something going on over there. Anyway, I did hear a couple of JAs. By the time I tuned up, they were gone. So the band was a little squirrely, but for a while they sounded pretty good. And I have a 80 meter, well, it's a doublet, sort of. The feed line is probably too short to be a doublet, but anyway, I guess I'll call it a doublet. Anyway, I can load it as a full wave on 40 meters. And it did pretty good. Did pretty good on field day, but it isn't the best antenna. So I've got plans of getting one maybe about, I've got a 95-foot tree and about an 80-foot tree, one on either side of the house here, far enough apart that they would support a 40-meter dipole. So I think I'm going to put a full dipole up. I bought the wire and so forth, and I'm going to hire a tree service group here that I know of that will climb trees and do things for you if you want. And I'm going to have a pulley put up in 2 of the trees and so forth, so I can hoist something up in the air that's a really decent antenna. So that's yet to come. But I want it done before winter because I want to enjoy it this winter. I better quit in 7KC. Oh, hi, Gary. Good to see you tonight, too. Your video is pretty good. All righty, back to Ness. N7KC, Port Angeles. Go ahead, Dave.
N7KC, thanks for that. Let's go on to Jim. N7QO.
Thank you, Dave. N7QO. Let's see. Well, Jim, yeah, thanks for that. Renton Fish and Game, was not aware that you were active with that. But I will Google TriggerCon and see what it has to say. And I saw that other thing you had, night fishing, whatever that means. Tritium sites, yeah. Couple companies. I see one says True Dot. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, we were talking about those miniature fire extinguishers. Those are actually still sold in aircraft catalogs. Small things, just like what you had, and there are maybe about 3 different sizes. I have never bought one. I never thought much about what sort of agent was in use, but it makes perfect sense that it would be foam. But I was apprehensive about buying one because they did not have any sort of pressure gauge on them. So I thought, well, over a period of time, perhaps the pressure would leak out and I'd never really know it without a pressure gauge. I actually had a dry chemical fire extinguisher, which it was a Kitty model, and the pressure just leaked out one year. It was fine, and then I checked it 1 month and it was down on 0, and no one discharged it. The breakable tie wrap was still in place, so not sure exactly what happened there. Let me reset. But so I didn't buy one, but I kind of thought that might be a good idea, just have one of those in each seat back pocket or something like that would be rather handy. But I have had problems in the past, rarely, mind you, but Jim, you were talking about a can of WD-40. Curiously enough, I lost pressure on a can of WD-40 one day. The can was almost full, and I pushed down on the little button, and nothing much came out, so it leaked out, and for that reason I haven't bought those. But since your expiration date is imminent, sounds like a test, and please let us know the results of that test, or better yet, if you could, do a video of that. Maybe a pan of something in the backyard, put some gasoline in there, and ignite it, and see what that little spray can will do. Don't do this, it gets you in trouble. Don't know what your neighbor's reaction would be. I know what my neighbor's reaction would be over here, but that's they're cool over here, but Bellevue might be a little different. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
N7QO, this is KD7DYN, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine, and my thanks to discussion on fire extinguishers. I looked at the Halon extinguisher I have in my shop. It says needs refilling, so I guess the gas has run down or whatever it is. But inside the indicator on the gauge is needs service, so I'll have to go get that recharged. I do have 3 other Halon fire extinguishers, and I had checked them last month, and they were all okay. It's some of the shop that says both. So I guess the word of wisdom is to probably check your fire extinguishers at least once a month, like you do with your generators and other devices that you have for emergency use around your house. So check to see if they're all in compliance. And let's move on down to Gary, K7HYB.
Good evening, and here I am. Yeah, all this talk about fire extinguishers to get me fired up here. The ones I have are all CO2, kitty CO2. It's got a couple of small ones in the house here, and each one of the outbuildings that I have. They don't have any in the car though. That one that James was showing there would it be ideal. It'd be kind of a mess though, I guess. But you know, it's I guess it'll put some fire out. That's the main thing. That's the important part. Anyway, so I'm going to cut out here. I've had to go to the doctor today because I've got a sore throat from something, and I don't want to work it too hard and get it any shorter than it is. So this will be my 73 round. Getting close to the top of the hour anyway. We'll see you all Wednesday night. And welcome to the other people where that fellow said he was in Snohomish. I wonder if he's in Snohomish or out in the area. So, hey, we'll be listening. Back to you, Dave, KD7ZYM, K7HYB. I'm clear.
K7HYB, we got you on that. So let's go to KJ4, SLO. Yep.
This is KJ4SLO, and yes, we're in the city of Snohomish, and the city limits are actually The boundary is along the back property line over here. And I was just reading up a few things about the television transmission and whatnot, and I may have a few things over here that, with the addition of a few other components, may be able to get it going. So, anyway, I'm doing a few things here, and I will turn it back to Nick, KJ4SLO.
KJ4, SLO. Let's go up to James, WU7M.
Well, thank you, Dave. I had one more. My flight bag wasn't too far away. So this one right here was marketed. I don't know how old this thing is. It doesn't seem to have an expiration date on it. But compared to my head, you can see it's about that big. And there's my hand right next to it. So this one got exposed to sunlight, and as you can see, the red dye that they used to color the can, when it got exposed to not very much sunlight, it just turned it to pure white. But it is like yours, Dave. It has a 504 gram gross weight, and if it gets below that, you're just supposed to throw the whole thing away. I'm interested in the report you get back on refilling halon fire extinguishers, because I worked at a computer center a few years, well, a decade ago now, I guess. And the thing that made that halon fire extinguishing system, it was an installed system in a building, kind of unique, and they never wanted it to go off, was because if it ever went off, they couldn't get it refilled. The type of halon in it was the type of halon that was no longer allowed to be put in extinguishing systems. So anyway, I'm interested to know when you go get your halon cans refilled, if they make you go to CO2 or something else. So anyway, I see we're very, very close to the top of the hour. So this is James, WU7N in beautiful Bellevue. And 73s, everybody. Have a good evening.
WU7N, let's go to N7, KC Lee.
Okay, very good. Lee here in 7KC in Port Angeles. Well, it's an interesting conversation, and thanks, James, for the good video tonight. And that's a nice idea about the gas and the electric shut-off in times of emergency and whatnot. Good idea. Okay, well, we are at the 73 point, I think, in the net. I've been chit-chatting with Vince here on the instant messaging that goes along with the streaming website. So that's been kind of interesting and fun. Okay, well, listen, everybody, nice to see you tonight. Looking forward to getting Ron back on, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And with that, I'll say 7-3. See you guys, not probably, oh gosh, I don't know whether I don't know if I'll be available Wednesday or not. We've got something going on. I know that for a fact. So we'll see. So this is N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles, and we're pulling the switch. Good night. Back to Dave.
N7KC, let's go on to N7QO.
N7QO. I do remember reading several years ago, not too awfully long ago, I think, probably within the past decade, but maybe not. There are several different kinds of halon, 1200 something series and 1300 something series, and it seems to me that some of it has been discontinued. Maybe they couldn't refill it with exactly the same. That's just, I don't know, just a thought from what I remember. Anyway, thank you all for the pictures. Thanks to everyone for participating. Good night, everyone, and 7QO.
W7QO. Thanks for joining the net and keeping us advised of what was going on with Ron at QO. Let's go on to Gary, K7HYB. And I think we lost Gary, K7HYB, so then for a final we'll go to Vince, KJ4SLO.
Connected KJ4SLO.
Okay, let's try this one more time. Let's turn the volume down on the 2-meter break. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up, and there we go. Sounds like it's working now. This is KJ4SLO.
Thanks for joining the net this evening. We'd like to thank the owners and operators of the 08 machine, the CTAC Repeater Group, for allowing us to use it on Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock for a net for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. So with that, I'm going to clear the net out. I'm Dave, 87CYM. Good evening all.
N7KC disconnected.
KJ4SLO monitoring.
WU7N disconnected.